Just more than a month ago, 2 Wisconsin police officers were shot and killed in Barron County while making a traffic stop. Officers Emily Breitenbach and Hunter Scheel both lost their lives, and the community has been mourning them and honoring them ever since.
And tonight we are learning more about what happened leading up to that deadly encounter. Fox 9's Rob Olson is here. And Rob, a lot of information released today.
Yeah, a lot. All the video and photo evidence from the case released from the Department of Justice in Wisconsin, and the Barron County attorney releasing an entire timeline of not just what happened that day, but what led up to it. That 50-year-old Glenn Perry had been civilly committed back in 2011. When that expired, his legal right to own firearms had been reinstated. But the day before he murdered 2 officers, a warning had gone out that his mental health had again declined. He'd made statements against law enforcement, saying even that the Creator, he said, had given him authority to defend himself at all costs.
This is Officer Hunter Scheel's body-worn camera.
He's got a rifle. He's got a rifle. Shots fired! Shots fired! Officer down! Officer down! Officer down!
That is when he just witnessed the murder of Officer Emily Breitenbach by 50-year-old Glenn Perry, who together they had stopped for a high-risk warrant. 15 seconds later, Scheel would be fatally shot as well. But in this exchange, Perry would also be fatally hit once through the leg, severing his femoral artery. 90 seconds later, he too would collapse to the ground. The Wisconsin Division of Criminal Investigation releasing all the evidence from this case from April 8th in Barron County. The day before, this email from a sheriff's captain had warned officers in the area that Perry's parents had warned he was mentally ill, carrying a handgun at all times, with a lot of animosity towards law enforcement and government in general. Perry had skipped a court hearing in late March for failure to pay child support, which is why the warrant was issued. This security camera at a nearby business captured the high-risk traffic stop just outside Cameron as Officer Breitenbach kneels behind her squad door, ordering Perry to come out with his hands up. Instead, he emerges with an AR-15 and starts firing.
I got lethal.
That AR-15, from which Perry fired at least 10 rounds, was legally owned, as was the 9mm handgun he carried in a holster. Between the 2 weapons, he still had 23 more rounds he could have fired. The investigation concludes that Perry intended to kill as many officers as he could, but that Breitenbach and Scheel's bravery in fatally shooting Perry undoubtedly saved countless lives.
The report says that Perry murdered those 2 officers in the span of only 45 seconds, that he then went and stood by his own vehicle, leaning against it for about 95 seconds before then he collapsed from blood loss, that had he not been hit and fallen to the ground, they believe the danger to passing motorists and to other officers was grave. Back to you.
All right, Rob.